I'm sorry, the old JPizzle can't come to the phone right now. Why? Oh, cause JPizzle's dead.
My man, the gangster, but he ain't no West Coast gangster. You know what I'm saying?
Hello everyone, JP here and welcome to MMA Mafia. This is a new channel I'm starting with a few others who I'll introduce you to very soon, and it's all about MMA. Some of you already subscribed to the channel already know me, and you're probably clicking this video on your subbox a little confused to why this isn't a player review or something like that about FIFA, but most of us know the state of FIFA, and as you've probably figured out over the last couple years, I have no desire to go back to that, but I have missed making content on YouTube, and when me and the boys thought of this idea, I thought, why not, let's give it a go. So I'm going to introduce you to Johnny right now, so Johnny, take it away.
Hi guys, Johnny here from Glasgow, Scotland. I've been a MMA fan my entire life, and I've been training in some form of MMA my entire life as well. And we've been looking forward to doing this channel for a while now. We've had plans for it. My plans for the channel in terms of the content we're going to be producing is high quality, long form video essays on like lesser known fighter stories and MMA stories, as well as podcasts, fighter interviews, and hopefully eventually one day covering fights in person so we can bring you guys along with us, and also introducing my fellow MMA Mafia host, Ryan.
What's happening, troops? Ryan here. Very happy to finally be starting this MMA Mafia channel. Me and the boys have been planning for far too long now. We should have got it done ages ago, but as the boys just said, we've got a lot of big plans for this channel. Lots of top 10 videos going to be getting pumped out every week. As Johnny said, fighter essays, fighter interviews, podcasts, just the whole shebang, to be honest with you. Make sure you get on their socials, MMA Mafia _ on Twitter and Instagram and Reddit. Give us a follow on there. We're going to be posting, or we are posting, should I say, daily MMA memes, daily MMA news updates. So let's get into this, JP. First topic, my friend.
So Dana White has finally got Fight Island up and running in Abu Dhabi, and there's been some really good fights so far. One of my personal favorites was, of course, Volkanovski and Hollow, which is a very interesting and very controversial decision. Ham, what was your favorite fight of Fight Island so far?
You hit the nail on the head there, JP. There has been a lot of good fights. Honestly, but it might just be fresh in my memory still, but Davis and Figueiredo, I mean, that man is an absolute savage, mate. Absolute savage, man.
They finally got the division figured out, you know, as I've been saying.
Oh no, that's plenty. But with that part, but yeah, for sure. I'd like to. It's nice seeing a bit of life back into it, but I hope he sticks there for a bit and doesn't shoot right up to 35, because if he collects a few more heads at 25, he can just make himself bigger and build.
I don't think they'll let him, man. It's not like he's a star enough to be able to say that. You know, it's just. I think the best thing for him to do is try and do what Volk's doing, stay in his division, beat contenders, and if he wants to go up eventually, but you have to earn that. See, unless you're bringing in eyes to the next division up, or that's the only way you can claim that, and I don't think he's there yet.
Unless you've wiped out your division, like someone like Usman, for example. Maybe. But Usman, I couldn't see him midweight.
But he's not gonna get it off the merits as a personality. He's gonna get it off the merits of beating contenders, you know.
That's true, but the argument I would have to that, boys, is Henry Cejudo. I mean, all he did was really beat DJ. Like, he wasn't really a big star. He jumps up.
But I think beating DJ made quite a big star with his personality.
Oh no, it did.
But I think that's got more to do with the fact of they just don't know what to do with the lower divisions half the time. You know, they just do. They don't know how to sell flyweight, so they're like, oh, we'll just make him fight the 135 champ because.
Well, I was about to say, I think with Figueiredo, it's going to be really interesting to see like what contender would be next. Would it be Moreno? Would it be Kai Kara France? Who would it?
Well, you see, Alex Perez, he's a really, really good up and coming fighter. I think he might still need one or two. He'll be really good. I'd like to see that. But see what the thing is with Figueiredo. I know he's a big 125er. Let's see how long he can keep making that weight for. You know what I mean? It's going to become inevitable that he has to go up to 135.
I was about to say, what about Cody?
I did see that floating about the MMA news, and if Cody can make that, then that will be a proper good fight. That will be a good knock and a half, man. No doubt about it. I think
that will be a fantastic fight, and I think that definitely sets up Cody TJ free.
Yeah. Could do.
That'd be really cool.
I think when TJ, not to go off topic, but when TJ comes back, I'd like to see him fight kind of. Do you know what, man? Like, I might just be kind of buying into the hype too much here with the story, the background. But I'd love to see him and Uriah Faber get at it. That would be
I
good,
mean,
man.
Although Faber's
TJ
going to be getting
TJ
on a
would
bit.
run circles around Faber, and
Oh,
I think
don't
that's
get me
all.
wrong. He
But
would put
that's
him
the
in the
thing as
top.
well.
He would put him
Thinking
in the top.
about why TJ got tested positive. Tested positive for EPO. So if he comes back and he's no longer on EPO and he's got a style that relies heavily on switching all the time, constant movement, switching angles, which to do that over 25 minutes, it needs his EPO is an endurance drug, and for him to be continue doing the sort of style that he has become accustomed to, that's going to be very difficult. I think if he did legitimately, well, he says, oh, I took it because of an injury. I don't think anybody ever believes that. But if he's no longer on that stuff, he might have to adapt his style slightly to.
Yeah, well, also on his comeback fight, I mean, you 100% cannot give him a title fight straight away. You have to give him a 3-rounder against someone.
Oh,
Uriah
100%.
Faber, I mean, I know he would get smoked. Like, he would just get smoked, but like
He's gonna fight
someone
him
like
anyway.
Uriah Faber, someone top 5, I don't know off the top of my head too, but
I
TJ's
think
still
that'll be
banned. Let's fucking move on, man. He's still fucking in the jail for
that's a
shooting
good
needles
point.
in his
Well,
arse,
I did
man.
want to move on to this very quickly. Volkanovski and Holloway. Who did we all have Holloway free too?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if I
It's a
had
close
to,
one, but man, I
yeah,
can see why people are saying Volkanovski at 100%, but
That third round.
yeah.
yeah.
Unlike Luke Thomas, I didn't watch the fight 49 times and decide that instead of
Incredible.
saying, oh, I think Holloway won, I just thought they were great mixed martial artists. It doesn't matter who won; it was a great fight, mate.
Yeah. I don't think it was a robbery by any
I don't think it was a robbery, but I think it was a bad decision. I think it was. I think there's a difference. There's percentages where you can be like, that was a robbery, that was a close fight, or that could have gone either way. And I'd say that was a close fight, but a bad decision.
If it was Pride Judges, Holloway would be walking around with that belt wrapped around his waist, 100%. He won the
And
fight.
speaking of Holloway, I think the next fight for him looks like it might be Calvin Kattar, unless he goes to 155, which I doubt. I think we're going to see Holloway stick around 145 a bit, so do you reckon Calvin's next for him?
Calvin could be next. There's a few good
Yeah.
matchups. I mean, you could even do him and Zabit. That would be
I mean,
good.
Zabit's always floating around, isn't he? But I think
Yeah.
Zabit, I'd love to see Zabit versus the loser of Ortega and Korean Zombie personally, and then the winner of that fight getting Volkanovski next.
What's Yair Rodriguez doing these days?
That's a good point.
They've been trying to
could
make
be a
that
really
matchup for
fun.
how long for?
Yeah.
That could be a
Is
really
that?
fun fight.
Yeah. That fight was scheduled, wasn't it?
A few
Like
times,
several times. Yeah.
a few
Don't know
times,
this
aye.
anymore.
But
Talking of scheduled fights, though, we do have a big one this weekend. Till versus Whitaker. We've all been looking at that one with so much excitement. I remember when they announced all the Fight Island cards and all the fights. That was the one where I went.
When I was speaking to Ryan maybe a few weeks ago about this card, it's so unusual because the fights are fights you wouldn't imagine maybe a year or two ago. Till Whitaker, you maybe could have saw that playing out a welterweight. For Doom Gustafsson again, it's just an odd fight, and I think it just shows how much MMA's changed in terms of it's no longer people fighting in their own division or staying in one division their entire careers. It's just fights all over the place, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Anyone can really fight anyone these days, and I think this card. I mean, it's really interesting matchups on it for me anyway.
Shogun and Nogueira, that'll be a good one. I think I was talking to one of you about this recently. I think the UFC for the past few years have kind of slowly adapted this kind of legends matchup thing, and I do think there should be some sort of legends division where the old timers fight the old timers. Because I don't know about yous, but I know a young up and coming fighter has to get by the vet most of the time to get the higher ranked fights, but I don't really like seeing it. Like, there's certain fights you just know that it's just not gonna happen for the older guys,
Well, there's certain aspects you have to look at that as well, because a lot of those fighters truly do believe that they can still contend, and the Shoguns want to fight the John Jones, when they're champions. And
I think we just need to be a bit realistic with them. But
yeah,
you know what
I mean, you look at Shogun versus Anthony Smith, and you don't want to see a fight like that again.
No,
you don't
for
want to
sure.
see that. But at the same time, he probably thinks that he can still contend. But I don't even think they need a Legends division anymore, because, like I was saying, the UFC's changed so much in how they're putting together fights to the point where it's based on matchup. They're not thinking about the overall picture of who's going to contend in that division. And I don't think that's. I mean, you could say that's a bad thing in terms of for top contenders like Aljamain Sterling, who are more deserving of a title shot than Jose Aldo. But I guess it just depends how you view the sport in terms of more just enjoying the matchup. So you're wanting to see the overall evolution of champions and divisions.
Yeah.
But circling back to the fights this weekend, I think starting from the top of the card, I like Whittaker against Till. I know I think Whittaker is the favourite in the betting just now. I think that might change getting closer to the fight. But the reason I've got Whittaker is going back to the Masvidal Till fight. I remember watching that live, and the shots that Masvidal was having success with were switches and like lunging in. And if you go back and watch Whittaker versus Adesanya, you'll see Whittaker, well, not even just Whittaker versus Adesanya, his entire style is leaping in with big punches, and Israel Adesanya is a good enough counter puncher and has much better head movement than Till that he was able to clip Whittaker. But I think with Whittaker, he will be able to catch Till on the end of these punches like Masvidal did with that same lunging in style.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. But another thing, I remember watching an interview relatively recently about Till talking about, I think it was on Eddie Hearn's podcast. He was speaking about the Masvidal fight, and he was saying the day of the weight cut after he just made weight, he was walking to Asda and he started going blind. He was draining himself to get there. You're obviously going to be, you know what I mean? What's the word I'm looking for here?
You're going to be, there's going to be a deficiency when
that's
you're
the word I'm
cutting that
looking
much
for,
weight.
deficiency, of course.
But at the same time, it's funny when you think of this. What could happen is that Till could get a middleweight title shot without ever fighting someone who's always fought a middleweight. He's going to fight Gastelum, who's a former welterweight, and he's going to fight Whittaker, who's a former welterweight. How is he going to deal against people like Costa and Adesanya, who are, could easily fight a light heavyweight?
You could see Adesanya at light heavyweight later in his career,
Oh,
but I am so excited for the potential stylistic matchup of Darren Till versus Israel Adesanya, and especially all of the back chatter, especially like all the banter between them two, like that DM that Darren Till sent Israel Adesanya.
That'll be fun.
That's one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah.
So
Darren Till, I love Darren Till. He's probably, how people talk about, he's such a unique character and all that, but I think Till started off as just another, when they were introducing him, he was just another kind of like English hype job, do you know what I mean? Where the UFC is just pushing him purely because of the fact he could open up revenues in the UK like Bisman did. But
a cowboy knockout helped a lot.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, he started off just as a fighter, but I've never seen a personality like Till. He's just so odd and so entertaining that he's just got that. He's got a unique quality to him. It's not like a big. Exactly.
He's real, mate. Like a lot of.
And he's also does bizarre stuff as well.
Of
that's
course.
all of it. He's insane,
See,
he's very authentic.
Yeah, not only like is he real, but you see these fighters most of the time, and they'll get on the mic. Oh, that was a great fight. Who are you going to fight next? Oh, whoever the UFC put in front of me. I can't wait to get back in here. Like, you've just won your fight. That is your opportunity to get your fans excited for your next fight. Until does that.
All right, chill.
But again, this chill, exactly. But see, for Till, like, I think everyone's kind of weighing on, will he be able to take the punishment at 85? And that's a big ask here.
Yeah, well, it depends how much you think his chin's been, if his chin's improved at middleweight. I don't think Helman did a very good job at testing that in that fight. And I just don't know. I see Adesanya as the bigger, better striker, and I think if that matchup does happen, I mean, I'd much rather see Till Adesanya than Whittaker Adesanya again, because I honestly don't see Whittaker having much for Adesanya.
No.
Well, I was about to say, Whittaker has said recently that he'd give Hermanson a fight next instead of going.
I don't think that makes any sense.
What do you do if you just haven't going to have a sitting champion again, which the middleweight division has had enough of, I think, over the past few years.
Well, let's hope we can get Costa Adesanya done. I want to see that.
Well, I pray that's in New Zealand, man. I'm going to that.
Yeah. That's another interesting thing. I saw Dan Hardy talking about this. He was saying that, and not to paraphrase him, but essentially he was arguing with people on Twitter over this, so I don't think it is paraphrasing him, but essentially he was saying that Costa is a power lifter and not a mixed martial artist like Whittaker and Till are fighting this weekend.
But he's very scary.
Have any of you guys watched Costa on The Ultimate Fighter before?
Yeah, he's evolved hugely since then. So I don't think it's fair to say he's a power lifter. It's it's a bizarre thing to say.
But it's because it's from The Ultimate Fighter. He has got a lot bigger. But on The Ultimate Fighter, it's good because you get to see them use all their skills, and you've not really got to see Costa do that yet. It's mostly just been stand up. But he has a good ground game as well, Costa, and especially working with Captain America now, Cejudo's coach in wrestling. I mean, he could definitely give Adesanya problems. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't see him taking it down, but
Yeah, I think what Costa can do is what Kelvin did, and the way to beat Adesanya is, I think it's swarming without lunging like Whitaker did, because Adesanya's such a good distance striker that he is just going to pop back and pull counter
Adesanya's head
you.
movement is
Yeah.
fantastic.
mate,
Yeah.
it's weird because I don't know about you guys, but watching the Whitaker Adesanya fight, and a few of Adesanya's fights, it looks like he's getting hit. The Gaston one as well, but he's literally like an
It's
inch
skimming
away.
and
It's like it's
beautiful
ridiculous,
to
man.
watch.
It's Anderson Silva-esque, but then again,
It's
look what
Anderson
happened.
Silva, it's Floyd Mayweather. It's that style of defensive
But
stand
look
up,
what,
which is absolutely beautiful to watch when it's done really well.
yeah, but it doesn't always work. Look what happened with
Until Chris Weidman
Anderson.
shows up.
Exactly. Look what happened with
But
Anderson.
Well,
that's I'd say that's just to say I'd say that's different. I'd say the way Israel and Silva fought, the way Silva fought was his head movement was to draw punches, whereas Adesanya reacts to punches. You know, I don't think that I think Adesanya's watched enough of those fights he's not gonna, feign getting punched or,
Well,
try
he
and
did
draw
against
punches.
Kelvin, man. He got cracked a few times. He got dropped off of Kelvin. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but that wasn't because he was trying to bait him like the way Silva did Weidman. That was just because Kelvin cracked him.
I'm not saying he was trying to bait him.
Yeah.
But with that, you're playing a risky game. Try to get an inch out of a punch.
100%. But I think that's just the level of striking Adesanya has. But Costa, Adesanya, very interesting matchup until Whitaker. Again, it's an interesting division, and we'll see
So
what
bring
happens.
it back to that, guys. Till Whitaker, who are your predictions? Final predictions for that fight?
Oh,
I'm gonna go for Whitaker.
Whitaker by
yeah. My head does say Whitaker, but my heart says Till. I mean,
I'm the same. Yeah.
Everyone loves Till. You want to see him
I'm
get
gonna
a
say Darren Till by third round.
third round.
I'm gonna go left. Yeah. I'm the same as you. I think I want Till to win, but I think Whitaker will. But I'm gonna go with Till.
Why'd you say
Darren
Till? So hold on. If you think Whitaker's going to win, why are you saying Darren Till third round?
Because I'm going for the outside prediction.
Okay, but that doesn't really make sense, mate. It's just because
I'm going
you
with
said.
the outside prediction.
Oh, listen. It's all right. Listen, I'm not going to hurt you. It's all right. Just chill. It's just the fact that. It's just the fact that.
Well, it's like you were saying, Hamlin, like with the odds on Verdum. Sometimes you just need to go with you just need to risk it all.
See, exactly. See the
risk it all for a fat Brazilian.
No, that's it, mate. See Verdum, but like I was saying to you the other day, Johnny, he looked shite in that Olympic fight. Let's be real, he looked horrible.
He looked terrible.
Yeah.
But he still had the grit in him. Do you know what I mean? Against Gustafsson, I mean, if he's that good at light heavyweight, Gustafsson, I mean, his few fights don't really show it, but if he's if he's at his peak and if he's at heavyweight and if he hits harder, then that will definitely give him.
I know we need to be wrapping up, but I just want to say I think that's another interesting thing I've thought about this card. The two main events, the co-mains. It's two. If this, without sounding patronising, it's all four of those fighters are broken fighters.
Yeah.
Till coming from you've seen the sort of just like emotional roller coaster he's been through. You've seen the emotional roller coaster the Whitaker's been through. They've both been reflecting on that in their interviews.
That's very
true. You saw Gustafsson, what happened when he laid down. He was done. And you saw what happened to Verdum when he tested and then he came back and he's looked awful. So all of these fighters have something.
It's really a redemption kind of card.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
whoever wins here essentially will win big. Like imagine Gustafsson gets over on Verdum, he could maybe be one more fight away from maybe being in real contention for that heavyweight title.
I'm just want to ask you boys one question.
Okay.
Not even a question, just a statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alexander Gustafsson versus the Predator, Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, I was thinking about this.
I think Ngannou it's Rumble 2.0.
But this is what we need to realise. That's what's going to happen. Gus has to have him on his radar because where's he going to go? That's the thing with Ngannou and all these heavyweights. He's just sitting at the top, and everyone that gets a little bit close, he just sends them all the way back down. It's a shame. It's not a shame because I want to see him with a belt so he can actually start fights consistently. Because that's the only way he's going to get fights.
Again, that's what I want to see.
I want DC and Stipe to fight and retire because I'm fed up of older fighters holding the top of the division hostage with their legacy fights. I don't care about your legacy. I want to see young contenders fighting for the belt and then defending the belt.
We'll end on this question here. Let's say Miocic and DC fight, and they both retire regardless of who wins that fight. And then they have to make a fight with the remaining fighters in the heavyweight division for the vacant heavyweight title. Who are the two you're putting in? I'm personally going to say Ngannou and Blades. Again, I know they've fought twice, but those are the two standouts for me. You have to.
Do
in my
you
opinion.
know what, mate? Maybe not right now, but see, eventually, I can guarantee you that there'll be an Alistair Overeem Francis Ngannou rematch. Guarantee you.
Yeah, Overeem seems to want. He seems not to be content with laying down. He wants that belt as many knockouts as it's going to take.
Did you see what he done to poor Walt Harris after all that he went through? That was so disrespectful. Like,
who would you put in that? Who would you put in that fight though? Like against Ngannou? I'm assuming everyone's putting Ngannou as one side of that.
Oh no, mate, I would put Overeem heel hook first round.
Would you put Overeem? But would you make Overeem versus Ngannou?
Would I
I'd
make
make
it? I would put Francis against anyone that would take the fight, mate. To be honest with you.
That's the thing. I don't think DC nor Stipe want to take that fight, especially Stipe having beaten him. And honestly, when you're the whole time watching that fight, you were like, even though Stipe, it was very impressive performance. If Ngannou's made any improvements whatsoever, the whole time you're watching the Ngannou fight, you're just waiting for like that fist to glance that guy's chin. You know, you're just waiting.
I mean, that first round of Stipe versus Ngannou was probably the most scary 5 minutes of Stipe's life, and he's literally walked through fire. So I think, I don't know if he has to take that fight again, and I don't think he necessarily would be too keen to, especially given his contract.
It depends if he wants another big payday, man. Like, that's another big payday for him. I don't see much else giving him a big payday in that division. That's only it. You know what I mean?
Lots of interesting fights. Lots of interesting
fights indeed, Johnson.
A lot of interesting things coming up in the UFC MMA world as well as on the channel. We are going to wrap it up there. Thank you, boys, for joining me for this first podcast. Appreciate it as always.
I just wrapped up my laptop there.
And, we're going to see you guys next time.
Have a good one.
I might not see you. We'll see how I'm feeling.
Amazing.